Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you to our March 11, 2024 Sueur City Council meeting. At this time, we're going to open the meeting, call the meeting to order, and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, you all received your packets over the weekend. Hopefully you had an opportunity to look it over, reach out with any questions for the city administrator. This time I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Second. Seconded, Councilmember Huntington. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. So we're going to get caught up on a couple things here before we move on. It takes us into tonight's public hearing. There's three things tonight that we have to have a public hearing on. It's three vacations. Mr. Roby, you want to update us on those quickly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I guess we have three separate public hearings tonight, all related to the same type of procedure, all related to right-of-way vacations. So I'll cover each one. City council will have to consider a motion to open each one and close each one in sequence as we move through them. Separately. So our city planner and zoning administrator were contacted by Sueur Incorporated and Bolton Bank for doing some survey work, as Sueur Incorporated was clearing up some titles on their property. And as part of that, there were three right-of-way vacations that were either previously approved by city council, and by previously I mean in the 50s and 60s, and then were recorded, but were recorded improperly, or in one case a vacation that was thought to have been approved, but no record of it could be found. And so LSI requested that we go back through as a housekeeping item and properly process these vacations and record them. The first one is on Court Street. City council had previously approved the vacation of a portion of Court Street. It's on the west side of Court Street. On the screen on the left side is the surveyor's rendering, which is down to the centimeter, and then on the right is an approximation using the beacon map. And in this case, LSI discovered that the vacation had been recorded, but the legal description was not correct. And so at this time, it would be the recommendation from staff is to open a public hearing, consider any feedback, close the public hearing for the Court Street right-of-way vacation.
Very good. Anybody have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing on the Court Street vacation. By the way, Councilmember Swanberg, I did advocate very hard to have one hearing for all three vacations. I didn't have any success today. So with that, I will entertain a motion. Thank you, Councilmember Schrader. Councilmember Huntington? Councilmember Tui, seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? And I don't think we have anybody here to share anything. So I will entertain a motion to close this public hearing for Court Street vacation. Thank you, Councilmember Schrader. Councilmember Tui, seconded. Any other comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to the 4th Street right-of-way of vacation, Mr. Roby.
This is similar, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Similar. What's notable here is that the right-of-way vacation here is for a street that does not exist anymore. So 4th Street, when it was originally platted, was platted all the way to the north, on the north side of what is now the LSI campus, and this vacation was never recorded. So this right-of-way does not serve a public purpose anymore, and so it's recommended that this be vacated as well. I would recommend a motion to open a public hearing to consider this vacation as well.
Thank you. Any motions? So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Swanberg. Second to Councilmember Williams. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. We are now open for discussion. Nobody here to discuss. I'll entertain a motion to close. Thank you, Councilmember Tui. Second. Second, Councilmember Huntington. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. The public hearing for 4th Street vacation is now closed. Moving on to agenda item, the Merrick Street right-of-way vacation, Mr. Roby.
Similar story here. What's interesting about this one is that this is a section of Myrick Street and also several alleys that are now completely consumed by what is now the outside campus, as you can see on your screen. So even if there were a public purpose to this right of way right now, I would have a hard time getting access to it. So the City Council did previously, about 60 years ago, approve vacation of all of this right of way. It was recorded with the incorrect legal description. And so the ask at this time is to open a public hearing to consider the revacation of Myrick Street and some adjacent alleys.
I'll entertain any motions to open this public hearing for Merrick Street. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington, seconded by Councilmember Sullivan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Nobody here to give any comments?
How long's the other side been there?
Since the 50s.
The company started in 1946 downtown, and I think they moved out in that area in 52.
So they built everything in that area then?
Correct. Well, actually, the original building, I think, was a car dealership. And then that was turned into the office, and then they built around that.
Interesting.
Mr. Dewey has a little history on that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Thank you. That leaves us with the closing of this open hearing. Did we vote on that?
So moved to close.
Thanks, Swanberg, Councilmember Sullivan, seconded. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. That public hearing for Merrick Street is now closed. Moving on to consent agenda.
Do we need to make a motion to vacate? We just had a public hearing, correct?
Yep, that'll be on the regular agenda.
That's a little later in the meeting, so thank you for asking. Consent agenda, all items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda considered in normal sequence. With that said, Mr. Roby, you want to review these for us?
Would, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item, tonight's consent agenda is approval of the city council minutes from the February 26, 2024 meeting. Second is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those disbursements are 6 items over $25,000. The first is to MMPA for February 2024 purchase power in the amount of $589,990.74. The second to Sanco Equipment LLC for a track skid steer loader, $71,363.55. Third to Kinetic Leasing is our annual Vector lease payment, $69,212.96. Third and fourth to Minnesota Department of Revenue, January and February city sales tax. The first for $45,811 and second in the amount of $42,564. And finally, to Neo Water Treatment LLC for our wastewater material, the FX 300, $41,115.30. And finally, item C, the personnel action, hiring of a full-time police officer.
Thank you, Mr. Roby. Anybody have any questions for our city administrator? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval of tonight's consent agenda. Second. Thank you, Councilmember Swanberg, seconded by Councilmember Schluter. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes. I'm sorry, opposed. You're opposed. We have one opposed. Thank you. Make note that Councilmember Tui is opposed to tonight's consent agenda.
Point of order.
Yes.
Consent agenda is supposed to be unanimous.
Right, but then why would he give the option?
We need to pull the item that you question.
Okay, I'm questioning the 71 grand. That it's not in the budget. What the city did was transfer $50,000 from the electric to the public works so they could buy the 71 grand. And that transfer, now that's what Joe and I were talking about. The operative word is should, but if you go to the League of Minnesota Cities handbook, it says any transfer of funds should be put in front of the council and approved by the council. And that $50,000 was not. So that's why I voted no.
Can we pull this item, Mr. Roby, and?
It's already done.
Consent agenda has to be unanimous.
Yeah, okay, then pull it and then I'll vote yes.
Can we pull this item and vote on it? I mean, it's already done though. Correct?
No, it's not unanimous. It would be a failed vote.
It's gonna cause everything else to fail if you make,
Essentially, by that failing, essentially now all those items need to be moved to the regular agenda.
Okay,
in
I'll
sequence
change
of
my
order.
vote to yes. But I don't think it's right. I'll hold my nose and vote yes.
I would ask City Clerk Davey, do you have a recommendation for,
I would like to take a revote if we could. Because I'm not sure we all understand what the votes are here. So with that said, I was entertaining a motion to accept tonight's consent agenda. And I had Mr. Swanberg made the motion, seconded by
Later.
Councilmember Schleter. Again, let's take a second vote. And so we're clear. Because I think it was a little unclear how we voted the first time. All those in favor? All those in favor?
I,
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Anybody any confusion?
We can't.
We didn't revote, I wanted clarity.
I changed my vote. I don't think it's right, but
I misunderstood.
But at that point, we keep it.
I misunderstood his vote the first time. I thought he said nay, but he said yay.
no, I said nay.
No,
And then I was told I can't say nay,
Right.
even though I'm given the option to say nay. So then I said, okay, do it over again and I'll vote for it. So we're done.
Well, back to point of order. Is that fact? I mean, the consent agenda has to be unanimous?
I believe it's in the
Yeah.
state statute, yeah.
I don't know.
I would,
We'll wait for some clarity.
I would recommend that so one of the individuals who voted yes on the original motion has to request request that this item, the approval of the consent agenda, be reconsidered, point of reconsideration. And I'd like you to vote. I would recommend that whoever makes that motion to reconsider, then that needs a second, then that would be voted on. And if that's the case, then it reopens, it brings us to the top of this agenda item. At that point, we can certainly move it to the regular agenda if that's what Councilmember Tui has requested.
Let's just get through.
And then we'll consider that, and we can address it at the end of the regular agenda.
Since I made the first motion, I will make that motion again to reconsider the voting on the consent agenda.
and I will second that.
And what's the reconsideration? We're gonna pull that item.
No, start
We're
over.
gonna reconsider bringing the consent agenda back to the table.
The whole agenda,
The whole consent agenda, yes. And then the consent agenda could be in theory considered with everything except for the payment to Central Equipment.
It basically allows Mike the option to make the motion to remove that item.
No, I don't want to do that. Let's go
What if you
back.
took it off?
Yeah, that's
It
why I
wouldn't go
voted.
anywhere anyway, would it? We've already proof, you already paid it.
Yeah, that's
So
what
you
I'm
you couldn't call it back to reconsider that line item because we've already paid it.
We haven't ever paid though. We don't ever pay a bill until.
This is consent agenda done. So if his thing went through, then you would stop that payment of $71,000.
what I'm looking for. I wanted to get that out. If we could go back to item 5.
I think we need to vote on the motion that's on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Yes.
Which is to revisit the consent agenda, correct?
Correct.
So we have a motion to revisit the consent agenda from.
And a second,
And a second.
and now we are in the discussion
Yes.
Okay, now
Of that motion.
Okay.
of the reconsidered motion, correct?
Now, are you gonna vote no on, if you vote no, it's gonna fail again.
No, I'm gonna vote yes. That's what I'm trying to get this through.
Okay, so we've got a motion for the reconsidered consent agenda, seconded by
Mr. Schleter.
Mr. Streeter. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Aye, all the ayes have it.
So now, Mr. Mayor, the consent agenda is now in front of city council, so you can consider a motion to approve the consent agenda, or if there is a request to pull an item from the consent agenda and approve the remainder of the consent agenda, council can take that action.
Correct.
Very good. So I will entertain a motion then to accept tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Schleter, seconded by Councilmember Williams. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
That was good education for me.
I think it was, because it had me very confused. Moving on to public comment. Councilmember Tui, you didn't see anybody sign in with
I
it.
did not.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the city administrator's update, Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In just a moment here, I'm going to introduce Police Chief Sueur. First, just a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank Lindsay, Danny, and all of our election judges for a very successful presidential nominating primary last Tuesday. Everything went really, really well. I thought we had a pretty good turnout considering it was a PMD, which was great. So thanks to everyone for putting that on. We've got 2 more elections yet in 2024, so this was a nice test run for the remainder of the year. We had a good city administrator meeting last February 28th with other Sueur County administrators, talked about a number of different things. Internally, we had a kickoff of the North 4th Street reconstruction project that City Council authorized a preliminary engineering report of at the last meeting. Surveyors have been out already surveying the corridor for right-of-way. Kudos to Pete Burns, our water wastewater manager. Pete gave a great presentation to the Sueur Rotary last week in the midst of election day. Went and talked about our water supply, and that was very well received. So thanks, Pete. We'll probably do some more promotional stuff around this, but coming in June, there will be some updates to our website. Every so many years, we get a free redesign of our website. It's not free because, of course, we pay our host, but we get a consultant to work with us on redesigning the website. So there's some things in the website that we can clean up. Stacy's been working at that. Planning Commission will meet this Thursday to talk about our industrial or I2 district and the zoning language in there. We're planning some Arbor Day events, April 19th. Peter Turek, who you'll probably recall is our Forestry Corps intern. Peter is working with the Public Works Department to give a presentation on Arbor Day. And typically we involve the 2nd grade students at Park and St. Anne's in planting a tree and doing some education, and they'll be doing the same thing this year. Next meeting for City Council is March 26th. There's also an EDA meeting that night prior to City Council. And I sent out an email on this late Friday, I think it was. But we had requested $2.8 million from the feds in congressionally directed spending, which used to be referred to as pork barrel spending, where representatives, Congress and senators get a chance to put in a request for discretionary spending. And we made the list for Senator Smith, Senator Klobuchar, and Representative Craig. And as soon as President Biden signs the law, the budget law, then we'll be in the process for receiving our $959,000 to use toward a water treatment plant, which is great. I know there was an article, I think in the Free Press, about Mankato getting $3 million, which is nice, but their project is $91 million. So $950K out of a $3 million project is pretty darn good. So we were very pleased with that and appreciative for the offices out in Washington for advocating on our behalf. That's all I have. So now real quick, sorry. Pete Sueur is here tonight. She and I have been working with Stacy on to continue the process. Recruiting in our police department. And thankfully, I appreciate City Council approving the hiring of Haley to be our next full-time officer. And one of the items around recruitment and police department staffing that Chief Sueur has been working on is the idea of a community service officer. And it's a concept that a number of communities already use. And I did pass out to council a job description for the community service officer. And I did ask Chief Sueur to be here tonight to speak about what this role might do for our community here and how it would fit with the police department. So with that, I'll just let her share her thoughts on this position.
Thank you. I don't know if this works.
It does, yes.
Okay, so, thank you, Mayor, council members. Thank you. I will not take too much of your time because I know that your time is valuable. I do appreciate being invited today just to explain that. And I will not read this through. You can look at it if you like, and then you can go back to it. But as you well know, we do have a lot of issues with recruitment and retention, and this is just not here in the city of Sueur, but it's in the entire state of Minnesota, and that's the way it is. So one of the things that have came up since I've taken over, again, thank you for accepting two full-time officers, and when I came in, we were short literally 50%. So we were 4 short of 8. Now we'll be 2 short. We do have people in the process, and I'm very excited about that. One of the things that we saw is people that are right now in skills, young people that are in the law enforcement classes and skills classes that are interested in small town. And that's where we come in. And a lot of people have approached me for ride-alongs and then just opportunities in general. The way that we see community service officer position is twofold. One of them is to give these new people a little bit of experience. It would be like you will see in there, checking out city ordinances. So we are more consistent when it comes to city ordinance violations and enforcement, if that's what we choose to do. And also just assisting officers as we see need. The city ordinances are the easiest because it would be like animal control and grass dewing and things like that. But at the same time, we're giving people experience on the road. So when they're ready to come on the road, A, now they're committed to us. And B, then it just gives them that experience for those people that are very green and new that haven't had that job experience. When I went to one of the schools at MSU and you just ask a group of 30 people who doesn't feel comfortable speaking to other people, 30 of the 30 put their hands up. People are not used to talking. That's a new generation. So this would be another step. And it would be a part-time position because this would be students. That's the goal for it. So that's what we're looking for, and we're hoping that we already have people that are interested. So it would be kind of like a rotating thing and a stepping stone for them to come to our department.
And I would just add that we, as Chief Sueur said, we already have a couple of candidates in mind. And what we plan to do is we've got the job description here, and Stacy and Chief Sueur and I met this afternoon to talk about that and finalize the details of the position itself. We'll plan to post it tomorrow. And we'd like to bring on at least one individual, maybe 2, before they finish their skills and get formally licensed. Given the market that we're in, it's somewhat akin to, a company that provides an internship or a paid internship to someone in college and then gives them a job offer 6 months before graduation. The offer is contingent upon them graduating, getting their licensure. But again, we're in a world where these candidates are getting 3, 4, 5 offers or phone calls the second they get their post license in the mail. And this allows us sort of a leg up and lets us get some candidates in the door, and they can evaluate us, we can evaluate them before they start taking control.
Yeah, and the majority of these future officers are being offered jobs before they leave. So that's where we kind of stepped in as well and just check out what that market is and say, this is what we got and we could get you going right away. And we're in the process of building a team and offering them being part of that team. So we do have a couple of people that are very excited for that. So I'm very excited for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief Sueur. We want to thank you for your advocacy for young professionals to look at our community and public safety. So thank you for all your work there. And thank you for addressing the council tonight. I think this is your first time here, is it not?
It is, and now I understand why you meant that it was so hard to do things when you didn't have the screen in front of you. So I do, I understand that. And yes, anytime that you would like me to explain anything or that it's just easier to do it in person versus going around with emails or whatever, I absolutely just let me know and I'll be here.
Thank you. Any council members have any questions?
What's the pay scale? I'm just curious.
So the pay scale was based on grade 5, and which I'm sorry, I'll just go ahead and let you know what that number is. But
It's in the range of $21 to $27 per hour. So similar to our other positions, once the job description was done, we sent it off to the company that does all of our evaluations and scoring.
Sure.
And they scored with grade 5.
And then it says it's minimum 20 hours per week. Is there a max?
well, we want to make sure that they don't go into full-time mode. Is it?
If it's 32, is it not?
Yes, it is. So we will, and again, a lot of these people will be students. So they will, that's the
Great
idea.
idea.
And it wouldn't affect the budget because we're short,
Right.
but it is, so this is perfect.
So is this a rotating thing as you see it? In other words, the internship is 6, 8, 12 weeks or whatever. Matriculation, and then the next group comes in?
That's what I foresee
Okay.
happening, and we do have somebody that is interested that would be graduating in May. And then a lot of it is that word of mouth.
Sure.
And she will make sure that we tell other people that are in school, and just getting to know once people get to know the community, they want to stay in the community. A lot of people are scared of going to a place that, I'm going to have to do everything as an officer. So that's a little scary because in other agencies, they kind of say, okay, we have the investigator, we have this, we have that. We do everything. What a great experience to have, actually, to do everything. And so now we're bringing them in early and saying, this is all that we do. And we prepare you to be a very independent police officer, being able to take care of your community no matter what you have to do.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much. I
Thank you.
appreciate you stopping tonight. Moving on to the regular agenda, we'll begin with item 8A, that'd be the 2024-2025 law enforcement labor agreement. Mr. Rowe, do you want to review this for us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've had ongoing conversations with LELS, so they have a business agent who's an employee of LELS, and they represent our police officers and sergeants. And we've had conversations with them dating back to July. We kind of kicked off informally, and then given the expected turnover in chiefs, police chiefs, I really wanted to wait until we had a police chief in place before we went headlong into negotiating. So we've negotiated a new contract. The union has agreed to the terms of the agreement that are included in your packet. It would be another 2-year agreement. The last one was a 2-year agreement. And some of the key changes, we relooked at compensation, both what the step scale looks like and also what the minimum and maximum in that scale look like, and ensuring that we're not going to be the top paying agency locally or regionally, but we will be competitive. We had to clarify some things and just housekeeping items between full-time and part-time staff, which benefits are assigned to full-time only, which benefits also apply to part-time. It was generally understood, but we wanted to make sure that we called attention to it because we do have part-time officers who work with us. And then some other housekeeping things like earn sick and save time. Of course, we had to add that into the contract because all city employees, full and part-time, are eligible for earn sick and save time. So we wanted to include some language around that. in the agreement. And then a couple of other items. I would call them smaller items because they would come up as questions over the last couple of years. Hey, how do we handle this? Are we supposed to be compensated for drive time to training or not? Do we get a city vehicle or not? So really positive conversations with the union around that. So I'll take any questions. Otherwise, this is, again, has been agreed to by the union and it's recommended to city council to approve the new bargaining agreement.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for our city administrator regarding this item? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the 2024-2025 LELS labor agreement as presented.
So moved.
Wow, that was quick. I think Mr. Sullivan first and seconded by Mr. Huntington. That's the way I saw it. So any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to item 8B, the Sueur Incorporated right-of-way vacation. Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the culmination of the items from the public hearings tonight. Given how interrelated these three items are and the fact that we have three separate public hearings for them, I did just do one slide for these items. They are three separate resolutions that would require three separate motions, seconds, and votes. So resolution R 2024-018 is related to the Court Street right-of-way vacation. Similarly for resolution number 19 is the 4th Street vacation, and resolution R 2024-020 approves the vacation of the Myrick Street and adjacent alley right-of-way vacations.
Thank you. Before we go through these motions to be voted on, anybody have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution R 2024-018. That would be the Court Street vacation.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Tui.
Second.
Councilmember Huntington. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to resolution R 2024-019. That'd be the approval of the 4th Street vacation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Williams seconded. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. And lastly, resolution R 2024-02, that would be the Merrick Street vacation and adjacent alleys. So we have a motion. Councilmember Huntington.
Second.
Councilmember Sullivan seconded. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Lastly, agenda item 8C, this is added tonight. This is the liquor license renewal. Mr. Roby, you want to explain this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, normally this is an item that would be on the consent agenda. However, Lindsay was graced with the renewal application from Luke's this morning, and she graciously added it to the agenda when I asked her to do it. So we can get it there tonight, so we can, if council approves tonight, we'll get it to the state. The state then has time to reissue it so that Luke's doesn't experience a lapse in their liquor license coverage. Luke's did not have any offenses noted in their license in the past year. They've applied for the same renewal of the current liquor license they have, which is a consumption and display license. So staff are recommending a motion to approve the liquor license renewal for Luke's and direct staff to execute the renewal and forward to the state of Minnesota for finalization.
Thank you. Mr. Roby just read the motion. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Councilmember Sullivan, seconded by Councilmember Tui. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Lastly, reports, items of appreciation. As always, sorry, Councilmember Huntington.
Just one thing, a special thanks to the community center staff for hosting, well, the Boy Scouts. Lock-in was the past weekend and had 70 kids and they took care of everything and great job they did at the community center. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Councilmember Schrader.
I attended a Sueur County officials meeting on Wednesday, the 29th in Lexington. Upcoming Sueur County emergency training is Wednesday, March 13th, and Lee Center. Planning Commission meeting on the 14th will include a public hearing on the amendments to the industrial zoning district. And I will be attending the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Legislative Action Day on Wednesday, March 20th at the Capitol.
Thank you. Councilmember Sullivan. Nothing tonight. Councilmember Swanberg.
Nothing tonight?
Thank you. Councilmember Tui.
MRVT meeting tomorrow. I'll be attending down in St. Peter. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
HRA meeting next week on the 20th of March, and then also attending crisis communication training done by the county.
Thank you. I got a couple items. Minnesota Food Share Month is this month, their monthly campaign. And as you all know, we do have a food shelf here in town. So this is my pitch to get your donations this month. It's this month of March. So they're just doing diligence to have their push for the month of March. So, and lastly, just a little word of preparedness. Our city administrator, Mr. Roby, his review is due in April. So kind of be watching for something to come from Stacy Lawrence as far as a survey that we'll do online. So that'll be through the rest of the month. Just kind of watch here in the next week or two. So with that, that's all I have. I will entertain a motion to dismiss this meeting.
So moved.
Councilmember Huntington, all those in favor?
Aye.
No names.